Welcome to your practice. In addition to our normal blocks or bolster type of thing, we'll also use a strap. I can find it. I did. Strap. And make your way up to actually start lying on your backs, but before you just lie straight on your back, maybe this isn't lying on your back. You're going to set up either with blocks or with like a bolster and a blanket, like a pillow and then a higher pillow, right? Or a pillow with a blanket over it, whatever you need, so that I'm going to lay down to the side here. I'm going to put the lower setting under my ribs, and I'll put the higher setting under my head. So it's just a way to kind of open my breathing apparatus a little bit without putting in any kind of, you don't want an intense back bend. So you're not really arching your back. You're rather just giving a little bit more openness to your spine. And that's where we'll start our breathing today. So please find a comfortable version of that for your body. And to take a moment, there's no rush. Take a moment to really make sure you've got a comfortable posture and that your lungs can be opened here. Just let your arms kind of hang by the side. You can rest on your elbows there. Let them drop to the floor. If you can't hear me okay, let me know and I can speak a little louder if the mic's not picking it up. You're breathing in and out through your nose. Just concentrate on really breathing through your nose. You're going to feel the wind moving through your sinus, if you can. You might be a little congested, in which case this is even more important, to do your best to move wind through your sinus. You need to use your mouth a little bit. Use it the least amount possible. Breathing through your nose builds up a gas called nitrous oxide, which is known to, it can kill bacteria. And just the act of the wind moving can help break up mucus and open up your sinus. You can't use your nose at all. You have to kind of try, like go blow your nose and then get a few breaths in, get the mucus out, and then get a few breaths in through the nose. Just concentrate, breathe through the nose. If you're not having any breath issues, you just focus at the tip of your nose. Feel the wind go in and up against the sinus before entering your lungs. Feel the wind go in and up against the sinus before entering your lungs. Now intentionally let the air out slow. Let the air out slow. So you're breathing in a little faster than you're breathing out. You could count like a 4-6 or a 4-8 or a 2-4, or just feel it. Feel that the breath in is a little shorter. More air comes in soon, and the air goes out nice and slow. Like if it was a straw, when you brought the air in, you used a big straw. And when you let the air out, you used a tiny straw. Good. Push your head down and push your elbows down and kind of squeeze your mid back together when you do this, so the muscles of your mid and upper back come together opening the front. And try again. Exhales longer and slower. A few more rounds. When you exhale, squeeze your belly muscles a little bit, especially at the end. When you exhale, squeeze your belly muscles a little bit extra at the end. Like you're trying to empty your lungs completely. And you might not fill up all the way. You just take a breath in, whatever feels good. And when you exhale all the way. So your abdomen muscles have to be active to get that last bit of air out. A few more. All right, just the last couple here. It's the same breath work. Big gulp through the straw in, slowly let it out. And then this time, you squeeze at the belly muscles, and when all the air is out, you're going to just hold for a moment and not breathe. Just a moment. When there's no air. And try to listen. Try to listen for this quiet place before you start your next in-breath. Just a moment. In and out. All the air out, squeeze and pause. In and out. Squeeze and pause. In. Couple more. Really look inside and listen for that pause. You're still on your blocks. Bend your knees and drop them over to the right. Don't knock over your plants. And drop your knees over the other way. Keep this breathing. Long exhale. A little bit stronger inhale. One more time, knees to the first side. And then knees to your second side. You go ahead and roll off your prop onto your side. Remove your prop and come onto your back. If you want a little blanket or something under your head, you can do that. Find your strap, make it long so there's no loops. Hold your strap above your head, just a little bit wider than your shoulders distance. And squeeze your strap. Try to pull it apart. Do the same breathing and reach the strap over your head, maybe to the floor behind you. I need to scoot forward so I don't hit my bookshelf. You might get your knuckles to the floor, you might not. Doesn't matter. Just kind of breathe. Bring your shoulder blades in and down your back as you pull the strap apart. Good. Inhale, come back up nice and slow. Bring the strap up and relax it down. Bend your left knee to put the strap around your left foot. You can go right over the arch. Right over the arch. Hold the strap, each end of the strap in a different hand. Make your arm straight. It's so good for your hand joints and your tendons to hold the strap like this. Arm straight. And squeeze the strap with your hands. Before you get a deep hamstring stretch, back out of the pose and just pull the strap down on your foot. Strong. When you pull on the strap, try to seat your shoulders down into the earth rather than bend your elbows. Rather than bend your elbows, try to seat your shoulder blades down into the earth. Feel how the leg bone anchors into the hip. Now pull the strap more. You could walk your hands up the strap so the leg comes more over your body. Doesn't have to be a lot, just so you can feel a hamstring. Good. Now bend your elbows and your knee like you're pulling your knee towards your outer ribs. Release the strap and put the foot on the floor. Relax your hands. Try to feel the blood pumping back into the hand when you unclench your fingers. Good. Put the strap over the middle of your right foot. Don't go too into the stretch yet. Back out. Keep your arm straight and pull down. Rather than bending your elbows, seat your shoulder blades and shoulders into the earth. So it's more about that leg bone anchoring into your hip. Good. Any further you'd like to go? Breathe and stay steady. And pull, bend the elbows, bend the knee, bring the thigh down alongside the ribs. Release the strap and release the foot. Relax your hands, but don't wiggle your fingers. Just let the blood flow. It's nice to just relax and let the body rejuvenate itself. You go trying to stretch your hands and move them a bunch. You take away from the healing experience. Let the blood Go back into your hands. Place the soles of the feet together and drop your knees apart. Bring your knees up, and like you were trying to do a jump rope, but you weren't very good at it, swoop the rope so it's over your shins, maybe in front of your ankles, and you're holding each end of the strap. You can look at the camera if you can't see. Get the rope over my ankles. Then let the knees drop open again, and now you can pull. Be careful. Be careful, but pull on your knee, pull on the strap, and it will pull your feet closer to your hips, which will open the stretch. Bring the knees up. Put the strap on the left foot again and lift it up to the sky. Now reach up with one hand. Reach up with your left hand high and hold both ends of the strap and take your leg out to the left. Breathe at the edge. The edge is where you feel a sensation, but it's not acute. It's kind of like distributed throughout the whole part of that muscle group. And you just breathe there and exist for a few breaths. Come back up and hold the strap, both ends of the strap in the other hand, and take the leg across the body. You can even use your left hand now and rest it on your hip. And kind of guide your outer hip back towards the mat. It wants to lift up. Just help it. You could even put your hand on the outer hip and push the outer hip down a little bit, just a little bit, towards the front edge of your mat. Good. Come back up. Change legs. Reach up with the leg. Both ends of the strap in your right hand. And then open your leg out to the right. Both ends of the strap up. Hold it in the other hand and take the leg across your body. Just find that place where you get an outer leg stretch, and you can use your right hand to help anchor. Use your right hand to anchor your outer hip down to the earth and towards the front edge of your mat. Back up and release the strap. Just rest a moment. Take one knee into your hand and the other knee into the other hand. So that your knees or shins are floating, and let your knees and feet fall open. Good. Squeeze your knees together now. Squeeze your feet together. And now curl your forehead towards your knees. Breathe here. And relax. Still hold your knees though. Curl your forehead towards your knees. Pull your knees towards your forehead. Breathe. And relax. Last time, pull in. Yourself a little rock. And then rock up to a comfortable seat. From your comfortable seat, rock forward. Tabletop. Let's go the other way. So let's open our spine. This way, you're going to hang your spine like a hammock. Breathe here. Come down onto your forearms. Do the same thing. Keep hanging your spine like a hammock. Melt your ribs through your shoulder blades. Try to breathe in and out through your nose if you can. Feel the muscles of the back drawing in towards the spine. Conscious breathing. Walk one leg back and the other so your pelvis drops into the floor. Push down through your elbows as you lift your face, your heart, Sphinx pose. Take your left knee forward like army crawl. And reach your left hand forward as you turn your head to the right. Just let the weight of your knee open the left hip. You got it. And like turn your head to the right so you're resting your head on your left arm. Put the left leg back. Take the right leg up. And stretch the right arm forward. Turn your head the other way. Use longer holds during passive poses. It takes a moment. You gotta let the pose, gotta let your body adjust. The muscle fibers, the myofascia, takes about 45 seconds or longer, a minute and a half sometimes. Let those muscle fibers receive the posture and release their tension. Come back to center. Listen carefully for this one. You're gonna rock your hips side to side. So you're getting more of you're almost turning your thighs in. So point your toes behind you. And it's almost like your toes are pigeon-toed. Rather than pigeon-toeing your toes though, rock your hips to the side so you're tucking the fronts of your thighs towards each other. This creates what's called internal rotation. So your toes, it feels like your toes are kind of going towards each other, but it's because it's something that happened in your thighs, something that happened in your where your legs met your hips. This should release the SI joint if you have any SI joint stuff. Try to keep your legs if you can. Push up and push back to child's pose with a little bit of this internal rotation still happening. You'll feel your body try to almost counter it. You sit your hips back towards your heels. Good. Stretch your hands out way in front, further forward than a normal child's pose, so you have to come a little forward. Listen carefully. You're going to inhale and sit your hips back. And then exhale, come out of the pose, lift up, like toward table. Not tabletop itself, but toward it. Inhale, sit back. Exhale, come out of the pose or come forward a little bit. Inhale, sit back. Exhale, come forward. What we're doing is we're trying to breathe into the back of our lungs. Inhale, sit back. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, sit back. Pause there and keep breathing. Walk the hands back and come up to a kneeling posture on your mat. Hips above your knees. Interlock your fingers behind your head. Breathe across your chest. Long breath. Exhale, tip to your right. Inhale up. Exhale, tip to your left. Inhale, come up. Slide your hands back down. Hands on your mat. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. As you push into downward facing dog, press down through the fronts of your feet and just gently turn your thighs towards each other. It'll feel like your heels are growing apart, and they do grow just apart, just a little bit. And then as you internally rotate your legs, push back a little more into your hips. As you push back a little more into your hips, root your tailbone down through your heels. Good. Drop on down to your knees. Inhale, curl up. Cow pose. Exhale, round. Push down on the floor. Lift your ribs up high. Inhale, melt your ribs, curl. Exhale, push down and round. Come back to neutral and pull your left knee in to touch your left elbow and then place it back. Pull your right knee in to touch your right elbow and place it back. Good. Left knee, left elbow, back, tabletop. Right knee, right elbow, breathe, tabletop. Left to left, breathe. Right to right, breathe. Listen carefully. Left knee to the right arm and back. Maybe it's the forearm rather than the elbow. Right knee to the left. So it doesn't really matter as long as you're alternating. Crisscross. Crisscross one and back. Crisscross the other and back. Crisscross one and back. Crisscross the other and back. Good. Downward facing dog. Turn at the thigh bone. Turn the thigh bones in so it feels like your heels turn out a quarter of an inch. And push back into that space. Pull the top of your shoulder blades apart. Breathe into the space you're making. Exhale, come down to kneeling. Walk your hands back and come up. Lift both arms high into the sky. Bend your elbows with the hands behind the head, but this time keep your elbows moving towards each other as opposed to apart. As the elbows move towards each other as opposed to apart, pull your shoulder blades down your back. Drop your chin a little bit so you open the back of your neck. Breathe into the space you're making. Good. Drop your right arm down and pull the head to the left with your hand. Inhale, back up, neutral. Elbows towards each other. Back of the neck long. Good. Drop the left hand down. Take the head to the right. Inhale, back up. Stretch the arms up high into the sky. Try to make the front of your body and the back of your body equally long. You lift from the back and you lift from the front. Even. Good. Exhale, slide your hands down your thighs onto the mat. Walk them over to the right and step your left foot forward. Bend into a wide, low lunge. Good. Walk your hands back. You can use your blocks here and sit back into a wide runner stretch. Inhale, bend into a wide, low lunge, pushing the hip through the front knee and press down through your front foot. Sit back, one more time, runner stretch. And then return. Change sides. Hands go to your left, and you step your right foot forward. Bend. Exhale, sit back. Bend. Exhale, sit back. Bend. And come back to neutral. Push up into a squat pose. Breathe in squat pose as you sit your hips down. Let your head hang like a bowling ball. Good. Now use the fronts of your feet. Push into the floor. Rise all the way up, standing pose. Stretching up to the sky. Exhale, hands down by your sides. You're going to step your left foot forward and your right foot back. Inhale, swoop the arms, warrior one. Exhale, straighten your legs, bring the arms down by your sides. Inhale, swoop the arms forward and up as you bend your knee, warrior one. Exhale, swoop the arms down by your sides. Straighten the leg. Yeah, inhale, back to warrior one. Exhale, straighten the legs, release. One more time, inhale, warrior one. And now straighten the legs. Put your right hand on your hip and slide your left hand down the leg. It'll kind of look like a pyramid pose and a triangle pose smushed together. Don't move your feet, but make it look a little more like triangle. Just lift your right shoulder. Good. Push down with your legs. Inhale, come up. And change sides. Warrior one stance. Exhale, we straighten the legs, arms come down. Keep flowing, breathing and flowing. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Put your left hand on your hip. Slide your right hand down your leg. It's a cross between pyramid and triangle. It's actually more of a traditional triangle. If you lift your left shoulder up. Traditional triangle actually had a little bit shorter stance than how we often practice it. Perhaps your body can feel the reasons, the benefits. Neither way is wrong or right, just different, a little bit different stretch. Different range of motion. Press down with the legs, inhale, come up. Now let's come to the front of our mats now. Stretch the arms up high into the sky, let's go up on tiptoe. Pull your arms down like a cactus. Bend your knees a little bit. Keep your heels lifted if you can. Breathe. Good. Straighten the legs. Hands down by your side and ground your heels. Inhale, arms to the sky, tiptoe. Exhale, cactus arms, bend the knees, keep those heels floating if you can. Back is straight, like it's resting on a wall. Inhale, come up, tippy toe, palms to your side, and rest those heels. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, sink down. Forgot to say tiptoe, but it's still there. It's implied now. You can infer it. Inhale, rise up. Ground your heels. Inhale, tiptoe, arms up. Exhale, sink down, heels lifted. Inhale, up. Ground the heels. Awesome. Bow forward. Put your hands on blocks if you like. Inhale, stretch forward. Press down through the balls of your feet, the front and inner and outer, and rotate your thigh bones back. So maybe the outer edges of your feet are parallel, and the inner edges are actually turned in because the front of your foot is wider than your heel. So the outer edge of the foot is parallel. See how that feels on your body? Bend your knees and step your right leg back. Keep the heel lifted. You can keep your hands on the ground. Just push through that back foot. Try to lift your back leg bone a little bit, your thigh bone. Now you can spin that back foot down or keep it lifted for more balance and put all your weight, if you can, the foot's down on the ground, but put all your weight down through your left foot to rise up. Really focusing on the front leg holding your body weight. The back leg is just there for balance. Good. It's high lunge pose. High lunge pose, Kathy. Take a bigger step back. There you go. Let's try that again. Come back down. So your foot's way back in lunge. You need to put the heel down, that's fine, but concentrate on putting all your weight mostly on the front foot and root down through that front foot to come up. You really feel the muscle of that front leg firing. Good. And then release it down. Step forward. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bow. Make the outer feet parallel or close to it. That feels good to your hips. Bend your knees and step your left foot back. That heel can stay lifted with just the balls of the feet down, or you put the heel down by spinning the foot out. Try to get most of your weight over your front foot. Concentrate like you're making a deep footprint with your right foot and push down, balancing to rise up. Good. Try it again. Bow forward. Push down, balancing to rise up. Good. Bow forward, building that leg strength. Step back, downward facing dog pose. Outer feet parallel. Internal rotation. Inhale, slide your shoulders over your hands. Top of the push-up. We're going to hold it and breathe. Bend one knee in your plank, and then bend the other, alternating. Just get a little more rotation in your low back, your pelvis. Good. Back to downward facing dog. Take a big old step forward with your left foot. And then walk, with or without your blocks, walk your hands to the long edge of your mat so your feet, you turn your feet so your toes point to the long edge. Wide-legged forward fold. Same thing. Outer edges of the feet become parallel. You can turn your inner thighs back ever so slightly. Breathe here. As you breathe here, push down with your hands and lift your spine so that your spine feels like a flat back. Looks like a parallel with a coffee table. Breathe and then turn your gaze and look to your right. Turn your gaze and look to your left. Come back to neutral. Bow forward. You might put your elbows, forearms on your blocks, or see how close your head hang towards the earth, whatever works for you. Come back up. Pinch your heels in a little bit and shift your weight back. So you can get all the weight in your feet. Hands float as you curl up. So your core engages to lift you up. Nice. Nice. Scoot the feet a little closer together. And then turn the heels a little closer together and push your knees apart. Horse stance or goddess pose. Lift up through your chest. In horse stance, you're going to stretch your arms out like a mirror to your legs, but then wrap your left elbow under your right elbow and join your hands. Breathe here. Inhale, swoop your arms up and straighten your legs. Take a deep breath, lengthening your back as much as you're lengthening your front. Rebend your knees and pull your arms apart. Keep breathing and wrap your right arm under your left. Inhale, swoop your arms up. Legs straight. Push the heels apart again. Outer feet parallel. And swan dive bow. You can bend your knees as much or as little as you need. Hang your spine. Bend your knees deeply here. Get lower to the ground. As you bend your knees, don't move them, but think about pushing your heels and your knees apart, and you should get some space in your low back. You may even get a chiropractic adjustment. Good. Walk your hands back to the front short edge of your mat. Turn your feet and step to forward fold. Shift your weight so you're completely over your feet as you rise up. Inhale, stretch up high to the sky. Bring the arms down into cactus like this. And think about having the back be as open as the front. Now slowly bring your elbows and hands towards each other and feel your shoulder blades separate on your back. Elbows should touch first, if they're going to touch. Then the hands. Good. Bend your knees, touch your fingertips to your knees. Shift your weight over into your right leg. With your weight in your right leg, open your wings, and you can take a bent leg, a bent left knee back in the air. We'll call this hummingbird. You're just like a little bird flying. It's not warrior three. Both knees are bent. Good. Inhale, come back up, straight up to the sky. Pull the arms down. Bring them closer together. Elbows should touch first if their hands and elbows are going to touch. Bend your knees. Shift your weight to your left leg. Open your wings, hummingbird. Little hummingbird wings. You can twinkle your fingers, it helps. Has effect. Knees are bent, so you feel that strength over your quad. Lean forward. That's it. Nice. Inhale, come up. Front and back evenly open today. Exhale, pull down. Bring the arms in front. Bend the knees. Keep breathing. Each breath, each movement's a breath. Shift into the right foot. Hummingbird, left leg back. This time, bow. Keep the knees bent. Hands touch the floor or the blocks. And lift your bent knee high into the sky. Lift up your bottom heel. Breathe, rocking forward. You're on your hands and the ball of your right foot. Good. Come back down. Find the weight straight over your thigh bone. That other leg's in the air still. So you can get your hands off the ground. Just balance here on the weight of that thigh. Good. Drop your back foot to the floor. High lunge or warrior one. You choose. Building that thigh strength. Strong, resilient legs. Really nice. Exhale. Step to the front of your mat. Oh gosh, guy, I don't know how to get back to this one. Let's go. Here we go. Inhale. Arms up. Exhale. Pull it down. Horse blinders. Bringing the elbows and hands towards each other. But you all knew what I meant. Bend your knees, chair pose. Good. Shift your weight into your left foot. Inhale, open up, hummingbird. Flying. Knees are bent. We're using our quad muscle. We're not locking our joint. Bow forward, hands on the blocks. Shift your weight forward so your heel lifts. Both heels really lift. Your hands help balance you. Replant your left foot down. Keep that leg bent. You're using your quadriceps. That's the front of that's your big leg muscles. You can float your hands, all the weight's in your leg. Good, drop the back foot down. Inhale, use that front leg muscle to rise up. And step out of the pose. Nice. These front leg muscles, quadriceps, huge bone behind them called the femur. Hamstrings are underneath. We bend our leg, we're loading that quadricep. If you use that muscle fully, you'll be able to balance. Here we go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, pull down. Bring it in front and back body equally open. Bend your knees. Left leg back, hummingbird, so you're over your right foot. Front, whole foot balance. Good, bow, hands to the blocks of the floor, lifting the back toes, lifting the standing heel. Plant the foot. That front leg is bounced. Use that quad muscle strong. Float the hand if you can. Just hang here, resting your belly on your thigh. And if you want, you drop the back foot back, come up. Let's add warrior two. Let's bend our back knee and lift our front toes. And then we step to the front of our mat. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, pull down. Bring it in front, horse blinders. Bend your knees, chair pose. Keep breathing, constant flow and breath. Shift your weight to your left foot. Inhale, hummingbird, right leg back. Just slowly gliding forward, knees bent, active leg muscles. Hands to the blocks, tripod. Bent knee standing splits. You can lift your back heel, your bottom heel. Both heels, all the heels. Put the foot back on the ground, the left one. Shift your weight back so you're over your foot. Maybe take one or both hands away. You can rest your belly on your thigh, it'll help. Good, drop that back foot down. Push with the front foot. Inhale, up. Exhale, warrior two. Bend your back knee, sit back. Lift your front toes. Nice, you got it. Inhale, big old windmill, make it look cool. Step to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, pull the arms down. Horse blinders. Keep breathing. Bend your knees, chair pose. Last round. Shift to the right foot. Hummingbird, flying, left leg in the air. You can stay on the ground if you're really having trouble balance. Just touch the toe the whole time. Bow forward onto those blocks. Lift the back leg up. Good. Center yourself over your right foot. The hands might leave. Float. Drop it back. Warrior two. Skip the warrior one. Warrior two. Good. Bend your front knee really deep and send your right arm to the sky. Windmill, sink it back. Bend your back knee. Lift your front toes. Inhale, step forward out of the pose. Last round. Inhale, up. Exhale, pull down. Horse blinders. Keep breathing. Exhale, sit down, chair pose. Inhale, shift it over into your left leg. Hummingbird, breathe. Hands to the mat. Tripod splits. Put yourself over your front foot. Float. And then drop back. Warrior two. Looking good, everybody. Push the front knee forward. Lift the back left hand up. Called reverse warrior. Good. Switch it. Bend your back knee. Lift your front toes. Call this drop stance or cat stance. And then spiral and step to the front of your mat. Good. Can use the wall or a prop today, but I dare you to kind of challenge you. Maybe the prop's just there for morale. It's just there for morale. Shift your right foot. There's another word that I was looking for there. Put your weight on your right foot. Just come up on your left tippy toe. Everyone can do this without a prop, for sure. Okay, you're gonna bend your knees and you're gonna touch your fingertips to the top of your left knee. You're gonna gently push on that. And then you're gonna push your knee up against your hands. Try to balance and come down. If you need to come down, that's fine. Come down with your hands, keep touching the knee. Copy me, let's do it again. Push down, keep your standing leg bent a little bit, and push up against your fingertips and back down. One more time, see if you can do it. Root with the standing foot, press up. And then let go if you can. Breathe and release. Good, so that was, you need to touch down more times than I advised. You can use the hand on a prop. One hand on the leg, one hand on a prop. Shift into the left leg. Bend the right knee, toes on the ground. We can all do this without a prop. The heel's lifted. Then you're gonna crouch just enough so your fingertips can push on the knee. And the pushing and the lifting of the knee, don't straighten your standing leg. Keep that bent as you lift and see if you can touch down at my pace. If it's a struggle, use one hand on a chair or a wall. And then touch down. Build up leg strength. You're doing great, everybody. Stay with it, stay in it. Last one, lift up. Maybe you hold this time and stretch your arms out. It's okay to fall, but keep trying. Don't fall and crash, though. That one you can avoid. Exhale down. Good job. Good job. Step your feet as wide as the short length of your yoga mat and cover it with the outer edges of your feet. So again, we've slightly turned our feet in. Put your hands on your hips and just move your pelvis back in space a little bit. Move your pelvis back in space a little bit, but don't tilt forward. Try to stay upright. Like you're finding a deeper sense of balance. A little wider with your feet, John, if you can. Like covering the outer edges of your mat. There you go. And just shift your hips back in space. Good. As you shift your hips back in space, start to just bend your knees, just maybe an inch or two. And now pull your belly muscles in when you exhale. It should release your low back. Good. Straighten the legs, kind of come out of the pose a little bit. You can lock your knees if you want, just for a second. Notice how the hips are going to shift forward. You're more teetering on your hip joints rather than rooting your hip joints. Let's try it again. Outer feet parallel. Move your pelvis back in space, but you're just shifting your weight back a little bit. Bend your knees, stay upright. You should feel like your inner thighs have space, your inner groins have space. Don't lean forward. Keep using your back body weight. You can pull back on your belly muscles to help stabilize you. And just feel. Should feel good on your low back. Inhale, come up. Notice how to come out of the pose, hips jolt forward, and the knees try to lock out. That's hard on our joints. That's hard on our hip joints, hard on our knee joints. All we're doing is we're making a deeper spaciousness in those joints. One more time, last one. Outer feet parallel. Move the body weight back just a little bit. The toes should be on the ground. You're not moving so far back that you're unplugging. the front of your body. As you bend your knees, sit your groins back. The belly muscles will move in, especially on the exhale. Show a lot of freedom in your low back area. And then just notice when you come out of the pose, try to just stay in a deeper sense of middle rather than moving back to lockout mode. Try to keep that same mentality as you come back to mountain with your feet a normal distance apart or regular distance apart. With the feet slightly separated, let the knees come together and just bend deep. This will keep the low back spacious. Knees are touching this time until the heels will lift off the ground. And then you can bring your knees to the floor. The knees to the floor. Sit back, knees touching, feet apart. Sit back any amount. Try to keep that low back not overly open, but supported by your low belly and then spacious in the back of your hips. Good. Cross your ankles and sit back. Pull your right knee, pull your right foot into your thigh, into your left thigh. With your fingers or with your strap, hook your foot, hook your toes with your finger or your strap of your left hand. Good. Push down with your heel and your ankle and send your groins back a little bit. As you send your groins back a little bit, pull just gently with your left hand, moving your ribs towards your foot. That should be enough. You don't need much to feel a lot here. And release the pose. Let's change which leg's in front. You can use the strap or your hand to hold over the top of your foot. Press your heel and your ankle down and send your groins back a little bit. If you have to round your back to hold your foot, please use a strap. We want to keep our back fairly long. We want to keep our front body open, not collapsed. And then pull with your right arm without bending the elbow. You just pull, and that moves the whole spine towards the foot, the ribs towards the foot. But you want that spaciousness in your waist. Looks good. There's a lot of sensation available in this pose with not much physical movement if you do the actions. And release. Then put the left leg out again. This time take the right leg back and you'll keep the knee up in the air like this. And you can hold it with the forearms. Try to bring your belly muscles towards it. Good. Notice how your left toes want to spill out. Draw your toes back. And with the left heel on the ground, turn the thigh bone in. like we've worked on all class. Turn your right thigh bone in so your toes point towards the ceiling rather than spilling out. Your outer foot, the outer edge of your foot is vertical. That's the pose. Some of you have the mobility to reach and hold your toe with your left hand, but you can also just keep squeezing your right shin. Awesome. Release the leg. Change sides. Bring the left foot in, flat on the floor. Give it a hug with your forearms, the shin. Once you've got that leg set, focus on your right leg. Push the heel down and flex your toes. And then turn your thigh bone. Turn your thigh bone so your toes point up and the outer edge of your foot is vertical. Everybody's a little different. Those are just general benchmarks. You'll feel it. You'll feel when the hip bone kind of like roots, anchors. And release. Good. Scoot forward. You can lay on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. You can do an active or a passive back bend today. Since you've opened our low back, use your legs, push your feet down. You can put a block under your pelvis or not. Turn your heels out so your outer feet are parallel. And when you push up, notice how the knees want to separate. Notice how the knees want to separate. Resist. Keep the knees pushing down. Keep the knees equidistant apart. And push your feet down so the hips come up. The knees are going to want to spill out. Don't go past it. Don't go past the pose. Let the back of your pelvis stay open. Let the inner groins and the inner thighs flow down and away towards the back. Remove any props if you haven't already and rest your pelvis on the earth. Let the knees fall in to touch. You can let your low back and your hips be on the ground. Try to relax into that low body, low torso. And empty your exhales completely. Keep emptying each exhale completely. You can let your knees separate a little bit if that feels good. And then start to slide your legs out on your mat. Let your feet be any distance apart. This is something you can do before you can get out of bed in the morning. Just laying in bed still. The knees and the toes naturally want to fall open and away from each other. And so from your leg bones, where your leg bones meet your hips, from there, rotate So the toes point up at the sky, or maybe in just slightly, depending on your own anatomy. You gotta just feel it. Just enough effort so the toes point straight up, or just in slightly. And then use your head to kind of move your torso. Move the shoulders away from your ears. You can even bounce your knees a little bit, bending and lowering the knees. You can kind of wiggle your heels. Kind of turn them in and out, in and out. And just one more time, just let the knees naturally or maybe intentionally turn in slightly. And then relax. They'll fall back out, they'll fall back apart. But what happened in the hips kind of stays. The work you did at the hips stays. Stretch your body. And press up to a comfortable seat. Thanks for practicing. Namaste.